Hi everyone, this is Nadia, award-winning mentor, author, CLAIRSENTIENT psychic, and founder at Spartanite. And this is a request topic that I'm going to be doing for one of my clients that I had a conversation with on LinkedIn. This is for you, Robert, and it's called How to Bend Time to Get What You Want, or How to Bend Time in Your Favor, whichever you favor as the title for this. All right, time. Everybody seems to have a very strained relationship with time. People mistake time for money and money for time, and both of them could not be any different or any separate. Now, what happens is that time is not linear, it is planar. I have mentioned this in some previous videos of mine, but I feel like I need to cover it again. So, what does linear mean? Linear is very simple. In the material or chemical worlds, like the real world, the tangible world is what I would call it, we have the past, we have the present, and we have the future. So something that's past is like 10 minutes ago or 15 years ago. Present is real time. You watching this, not just me recording this, but you watching this at any point in your life, that is now your present. And then your future is whatever comes after you watching this, wherever you're at. Now, most people think that time is something that we cannot control, or we are always slaves to time, and we constantly have to run to catch up with time, to do different things. But the funny thing when it comes to time is that you can accelerate, you can bend, you can collapse, you can wrinkle, and you can slow down time, and you can speed up time as well, of course. If you can slow something down, you can speed it up. Now, when we understand that time is not linear, so it's not the past, present, and future, it is planar. Planar means it's on its own plane. And when I talk about occult planar engineering and how to restructure your life, it's basically looking at life from a different frequency and a different perspective, which is much different to the mundane mainstream way that people choose to look at time, which is lack consciousness, it's never enough, or shame consciousness, this perverse feeling of I'm not worthy, or I don't feel deserving of nice things, irrespective of whatever your socioeconomic circumstances and whatever you have on the outside. So how do we bend time? How do we really look at the situation of time? Because time is this elusive thing that we are constantly up against. It sort of reminds me of Saturn, the planet Saturn, because I always think of like Capricorn based people, whether you are Capricorn sun, moon, and in all of your inner planets. Like with myself, I have a lot of placements in Capricorn, so I am very aware. I'm an Aquarius sun, so obviously ruled by Uranus and Saturn, and Saturn is chronos, is time. It makes you very, very aware of your mortality, much more than other people are, and it gives you a sense of advanced wisdom that many people feel like maybe in their natal charts or their placements they don't have. So what happens when it comes to structuring your life? One of the best people to look at, or maybe not people I would say, but the best sun sign to look at to structure your life is probably a mix of the earth signs, which is Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. Probably not Taurus as much, because Taurus is very much ruled by Venus, and they love their creature comforts. They're very they kind of like a certain lifestyle. Let's put it that way. Taurus and Leo kind of remind me of the same thing. They like a certain lifestyle. But when we look at Virgo, I'm a Virgo moon, and when we look at Capricorn, I have so many of that in my chart, so I feel qualified enough to speak about it. Virgo really talks about organization. So whichever placement you are, it doesn't matter what you're born, what you're not born. It's not enough to call yourself, I'm an Aries, I'm a Gemini, because that's just your sun, but you don't really know what else. So look at your natal chart and find out who you really are and go with that. It's kind of like a roadmap for your life. All right, so with Virgo and we're currently in Virgo season, which is really exciting. So please be cleaning out your closets, doing all the stuff, treating yourself well, self-care, going on holidays, enjoying yourself, sixth house, focusing on fitness, focusing on loving yourself, focusing on expanding your horizons, whatever you want to call it. All right, so in a couple of seasons down, we are going to be in Capricorn season. So what does time have to do with Capricorn? Well, like I've said, it's Saturnian based. Saturn has discipline, it has rules, it has boundaries. It won't overextend itself to something that it can't do. It doesn't make promises and then just disappears 2 nights afterwards, because you have the stable groundedness to know that if that is something feasible, if that is something true and honest or not. So I want anybody watching this to think of time as Saturn. So we think of the planet Saturn. Now, when we have that, time is always structured. Like I said, we can do many different things with time. We can collapse it, we can bend it, we can restructure it. And oftentimes pun intended, we are told in society we never have enough time, or there are not enough hours in the day. There's always, again, this pervasive sense of lack. But actually, we have more than plenty of time if we know exactly what we are doing with that time. Man-made time is 24 hours, which is why when you look at the analog of, well, it's this time and it's that and it's this, the easiest way to deal with time is 2 ways. A sun timer, basically, and a sundial. And I actually wanted to show you guys this. I have like a really pretty sun timer that I always use when I meditate. I don't use clocks, I don't use watches, and I just watch it pour down from here. This is like a 30-minute sun timer that I got from the local supermarket, and I really enjoy meditating with it. So how does that put things in perspective? Now, we live in a very fast-paced world where everybody is trying to meet a deadline, everyone's trying to meet a quota, everybody's trying to do this, we're trying to run for a flight, we're trying to run for a bus, a train, we're trying to make sure our parking doesn't run out on our car. Everything is so rushed. As opposed to looking at a watch and look at a sand timer, the energetic feeling is very different. You can cross over into many planes when it comes to working with time. Now, how do you bend time in your favor? First of all, you need to have the understanding of what it is you truly want. What is your end goal? What is your result? For a lot of people, they would call this reverse engineering. I would call it occult planar engineering. Planar engineering is very scientific, and by no means do I claim to be somebody that's scientifically very educated or knows about, all the quantum physics and mechanics and all that stuff. But obviously, in occult practices, we need to have the understanding of quantum ability, the quantum field, scalar wave energy, those type of things, because it's important for us to have the understanding of how ritualistic work works and how things can be leveraged over time. One of my favorite words is leverage, because what you do with time is you leverage time. This can be very candid in business, where you're paying someone to do X amount and then you get a return on it, or very much where we think, okay, well, if I do this, I get that. So Saturn, again, I'm going to go back to, the granddad of time, basically, or the dad of time. Saturn makes us very aware of our mortality, and it makes us very aware of how much time we are wasting on something. Because I don't have an issue with lost money. We're always going to have stupid financial decisions. It doesn't matter how good you are with money or how much you've made or not made. There's always going to be something where there are new levels that you need to learn about in life. And okay, you have one thing you've done, it didn't really work out, move on to the next thing. I remember having this situation probably about 2 years ago in my life, where I did something and it didn't go the way I wanted it to go. It was kind of like, I wasn't too bummed about it. Most people would have literally lost their mind. I don't want to cover my personal life in it, but and I went to somebody that I knew and I said, I just want guidance from one of the beings you work with, that, well, wow, I did this and it didn't really manifest the way I wanted it to, and I'm kind of bummed about it. What lesson can I learn? And he said, it's the lesson of time, because if something doesn't go your way, you're never a loser, you just learn from the experience. Yes, experience is a hard teacher. Again, Saturnian rules, they're very harsh. Time is a very harsh teacher, and one does not keep up with time. Now, what can you do? Now, women know this story better than men. Our biological clock is always ticking. You get to in your Saturn return, again, of time between the ages of 28 to 32, maybe pushing 33, and your mind is literally worrying, I need to do this, I need to maybe settle down, I need to have kids, I need to have this, and it gets overwhelming. So how do we bend time in our favor? We choose to remain consistent with our goals, because our life is filled with distractions. Our life is always filled with things where, you have one solitary base. So say, for instance, here we go, we have the sand timer, and people are literally trying to pull the sand out from every place. And that's what I call as leaky energy, basically. So I want to give an example of this, and you have the sand, the grey sand that's going from here right down into here, and you need to plug in all the gaps. And when you work with time and to bend it in your favor, you need to plug in the gaps of where you're leaking energy from all the time, because time is a concept that can easily be manipulated and leveraged. I don't like the word manipulate because it has negative connotations. However, leverage is a lot easier for me, or maybe take an advantage of it. So get very clear about what you want to achieve. Get clear in the time frame that you want to achieve it in. And I want to make this clear that time frames are not man-made. So somebody can say, and this is understandable and I'll put my own spin on it, I want to do an ad campaign that lasts for the next 30 days, so 30 calendar days, and I want to launch this, or within 30 calendar days I want to do this. But always have the impresario and the understanding that when you work with time as in man-made time, you will always feel disappointed because, okay, I'll go back to sign timer. This is 30 minutes. It's already running as I'm making this video. And when you put your whole faith into man-made time is what I call it, like it has to happen within this time, otherwise, I'm a failure on this. You're not a failure. Whoever's watching this, whatever you've gone through, we're all human. We all struggle in different ways. None of us is perfect. I'm certainly not perfect, and nobody is that's watching this. You have to think of, okay, well, I'll give myself a reasonable amount of duration where I would like it to come into my life in X amount of time frame or whatever it is. However, the divine may have better ideas for us. So the main thing to bend time in your favor is the understanding is that right now you're exactly where you need to be. It took me years to learn that in my life because I was the type of person who was very manic. I just wanted to rush through everything in my life and it's like the boxes, everything checked off is a very Capricorn thing, basically just chick, yeah, everything's done. And then I had to have the appreciation of, wow, I may not get it this summer, or I may not get it this winter, I may not get it 2 years from now, but it is coming. And aligning yourself with the feeling that it is coming in your life actually brings it in quicker. You can never have doubts on if something is coming into your life or not. In fact, through some of the work that I do, especially when it comes to bending time for clients, through my special Spartanite work or my ritualistic work, I work with something called LERM. Now, I will cover LERM in another video because I don't have enough time today. Pun intended. But what I want to make clear is that one of the best things I say to manifest something in your life is see it as already done in your head. And then you can maybe put a picture of yourself or something where you really felt confident and you felt like the shit. You felt like you were on some, wow, you're juiced up. Like imagine someone that's on like high grade cocaine, you're looking at yourself like, yeah, you'd whistle at yourself like, yeah, boy, I'm the shit. You want to be looking at yourself that way, but not in a narcissistic, egotistical, grandiose, self-delusional perspective. No, in a very honest and humble way. It's like, you know what, I really felt good at that point. It could be you sitting on holiday, you could be past your driving test, you could be maybe, I don't know, a couple 100,000 in your business, you could have got married, you could have met the love of your life, you could have fallen in love, whatever. I just want you to recapture that feeling, and if you can tie a picture to it, that would be really good. And really sit and meditate with that picture. Be by yourself and ask that picture to speak with you, and ask the picture for wisdom, and ask the picture what would the person in that time frame when that was captured, what would they like to say to you, what is it you need to know? Because through that advice and that information you are able to bend time and say, okay, well, this is it would have taken 5 years for me to do this, but actually I can shorten down the period and I can accelerate it. There is a bit of a red flag and a warning that I do want to give. So when you accelerate and you bend time and you literally drag things towards within yourself, it's going to cause pain. It's going to cause low vibrational people to get out of your life, and a lot of people in this world are sadly low vibrational. It is going to, I guess it's like having braces, like I have them on my teeth, and yeah, when they're moving in their final positions, it's, for all of those who've gone through it, hell. But obviously, if you need to straighten something out, it needs to be like pulled in basically the alignment that it needs to be in. So when you're in pain and when things are shifting for you, and when the floorboards are moving underneath you, it can feel painful, but just think of that. If you have a goal that you are looking to reach, then obviously if you've done the work and you are doing your emotional work on the inside, which really means healing everything on the inside, healing and rising into your power. There are so many people who look like on the outside. We live in a very fake world where people are just obsessed with the pictures they can put on Instagram, or oh my god, I have so many likes on Facebook, or we live in a very vain and shallow society, and most people are not trying to convince anybody else. They are trying to convince themselves that they are successful and they have made it and they have done it, because someone that's truly successful within themselves does not have the need to brag and convince others, because they already feel like they are enough. So, when it comes to the modem or the modality of time, just remember, you can have the life that you dream of. You can have the life that you are looking for. However, what needs to change in your life? What needs to be bent out of your life? What needs to be wrinkled out of your life? What needs to be collapsed out of your life? What needs to be restructured? What needs to be slowed down? What needs to be sped up? Some of you are going too quickly in your life and then you wonder why it's a crash landing. Some of you are not going fast enough in your life. So time for me, when I look at, again, the planet Saturn, I always think of driving my own car. You have to switch different gears. You know, you cannot start a car in fifth gear. It's just not going to work. You have to work your way up from first to fifth, and depending on wherever you're going. If you're driving automatic, it's doing it for you, so that's not relevant. But the point is, if we're all driving manual, especially I'm in the UK and most of us do that, you have to look at what gear suits where. So the modality of having control over time is knowing that if one avenue feels blocked towards you, don't keep banging on or harping on about that avenue. Try and find a different avenue, because time may not be favorable in that one avenue for you, but time may be favorable in another avenue. You can have two gyms and you got one place that's just always packed. You can never get on the weight machine. You can never do nothing. You just can't get there, basically. But you also have one that's slightly less packed, but maybe it costs more money, or it's slightly more investment when it comes to financial stuff. So having the concept of time is very important, because when we have a schedule and a planner of what time means to us and what we can achieve in X amount of duration and period that we give to us, we then have the respect for man-made time, which is analog time, which is the 24-hour time, as opposed to divine timing, which is like, okay, well, X amount of seasons or years or whatever it is past. To wrap up very quickly, I would want to say that things can feel very, very slow in man-made time because we are always such in a rush. But remember, divine timing is perfect, and you know, you're not behind, you're not late, you're exactly where you need to be, as I've said. And I hope that's informative for everybody watching this on YouTube. And Robert, yeah, that was for you. Thank you for suggesting this topic as well. And yeah, thanks for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and if you have any questions or comments or anything, I would love to hear it in the chat box below. Take care, and I hope you have a good day. Bye.